Step inside the ultimate war tent with me for a second. Picture this magnificent, dimly lit space, right? Dust particles floating through these beautiful shafts of antique gold light. And right in the center is this colossal tactical map. But here's the catch. It's not a map of a country or a battlefield. It's a massive, three-dimensional topographical rendering of your own brain. This right here, this is where the real battles are fought. So today, in this explainer, we're going to act as the general at this table. Picture yourself in the flowing crimson cape, holding the command baton, mapping out the glowing golden terrain of your mind. We're diving deep into strategy, psychology, and exactly how to discover your ultimate tactical advantage. Let's get into it. So I want you to imagine you're that general, right? You're staring down at this massive map, and you are suddenly hit with a terrifying realization. Your opponent has heavy, charging cavalry, and your army? Well, it consists almost entirely of archers. Are you fighting your life's battles with the completely wrong weapons? Think about what your very first instinct would be. Do you panic? Do you retreat? Or do you rethink the terrain? This isn't just some ancient warfare hypothetical. This is exactly the situation most of us are facing every single day in our careers, our personal lives, and our growth.
Section 1. The Commander's Dilemma. Let's look at the archers versus the cavalry.
Okay, so looking at this scenario, two completely different mindsets start to emerge. First, you've got the foolish commander. He looks down at his glowing military units on the board, realizes he has 0 cavalry, and basically starts weeping in the deep, dark crimson valleys of his weaknesses. He wastes all this precious time trying to magically conjure up horses out of nowhere. But the brilliant commander? Honestly, he doesn't care about what he lacks. He becomes completely obsessed with the golden ridges of his strengths. He's asking, okay, where is the high ground? How can I use this terrain to make my archers absolutely devastating? See, he transforms what he already has into an insurmountable advantage.
Section 2. The Trap of Flaws. Let's explore the topography of the mind. This brings us to the biggest trap we fall into, the endless cycle of craving. As humans, we naturally gravitate toward what we lack. It's kind of just a fundamental flaw in our nature. Think about it. The quiet, reflective person spends their whole life wishing they were bold and loud. The super social butterfly wishes they had this cool aura of mystery. We see the exact same thing with wealth and relationships, right? The poor believe money solves everything, while the rich realize all that wealth doesn't actually fill the void inside. The single person thinks marriage is the ultimate salvation, and the married person, well, they might be sitting there regretting their choice. It's this endless loop of misery where people genuinely believe the secret to success is fixing their missing pieces. It's literally like staring at the deep shadows on our tactical map and completely ignoring the illuminated heights.
So the really crucial point here is that by focusing on what you don't have, you are completely abandoning your winning cards. You're throwing away your tactical advantages. Let's say someone has natural good looks and incredible presence. Instead of using that as a doorway to opportunity, they might spend their entire life trying to sound incredibly deep and philosophical, which, let's be honest, usually just comes off as fake. Or take the highly charismatic person. Their conversational skills are absolutely off the charts, yet they waste all their energy obsessing over their physical appearance. Guys, they are literally leaving their best weapons back at the camp. It makes no sense.
And this animal analogy brilliantly hits the nail on the head. There is a massive, fundamental difference between genuine self-improvement and just straight-up betraying your own nature. If you take a majestic tiger and force it to swim in the ocean, or you take a fish, a master of the sea, and throw it onto the dirt, you completely destroy their natural dominance. Every single creature is a king in its proper environment. Yet somehow we humans do this to ourselves every single day. We constantly force ourselves into environments where we are literally destined to drown, all in the name of fixing our flaws.
Section 3. Deploying your arsenal. It is time to embrace your golden terrain.
So to stop treating your life like a constant repair shop, we have to shift to an offensive strategy. We've all heard the proverb, right? Fortune favors the bold. But what does boldness actually look like on our battlefield? Well, true boldness, and the wealth and success that follow it, only comes when you are deeply, unshakably comfortable with your internal arsenal. It's when you know exactly which glowing golden lines on your mental map represent your natural advantages, and you lean into them with absolutely zero hesitation. You can always spot when someone is fighting in their crimson valleys because they are constantly overcompensating. I mean, think about it. The person with the most terrible singing voice is usually the one singing the absolute loudest, right? They're desperately trying to cover up their flaw and just get people to accept them. Now compare that to the natural confidence of someone who is highly physically fit. They don't walk around flexing or puffing out their chest all the time. They just walk naturally, because true strength requires zero artificial effort.
It just flows. Section 4. Discovering your strength. Let's talk about reconnaissance and deployment.
This leads us to the ultimate reconnaissance mission. How do you actually map out your own golden terrain? I mean, how do you figure out what your natural weapons are if you're just way too close to see them? Well, the source material brings in this beautiful piece of wisdom from an Islamic hadith. The believer is the mirror of his brother. As this suggests, the absolute most effective way to discover your blind spots, and more importantly, your hidden strengths, is to listen to the reflections provided by the people around you.
So how does this actually translate into an actionable battle plan? Well, by tracking 3 specific tactical indicators, you are going to strike gold. First up, listen to unsolicited praise. What do people randomly compliment you on when you're not even trying? Second, notice the complex things you do completely effortlessly. You know, those tasks you execute in a split second that seem to take everyone else immense planning and agonizing effort. And third, observe the areas where you naturally assume leadership without ever raising your hand or asking for it. When you're operating in these zones, you are basically a pure force of nature.
Section 5. A strategic pivot. Moving from the trenches to the high ground.
Let's ground all this lofty strategy by looking at a real-world case study directly from the creator of our source material, Abdullah the Architect. So, back in 2019, during the whole COVID era, he launched gaming content. And for years, he fought this stubborn, losing battle in the trenches. He was acting exactly like that foolish, childish commander we talked about earlier. He was demanding a reality that just wasn't there, trying to force success in an area that simply wasn't his natural domain, completely ignoring the low numbers staring him right in the face.
But then came the tactical revelation. He finally stopped trying to force the fish onto land. He actually listened to the consistent praise he'd been getting in his real-world work environment, praise for his natural delivery, his speaking style, and his ability to explain complex things effortlessly. So, just 5 months ago, he made a hard pivot. He deployed his units directly to the high ground of his natural talents, and the result? Absolute, immediate, massive success. He stopped trying to be a gamer, started being an explainer, and leaned entirely into his golden terrain. It's a real game changer.
Section 6. Final orders. It's time to command your destiny.
All right, as we wrap up this tactical briefing, I need to issue your final marching orders. The world does not need a flawed copy of someone else. It really doesn't. It doesn't need you pretending to have cavalry when you don't. What it actually needs is a hyper-focused, incredibly true, and concentrated version of you. You've got to stop trying to acquire the enemy's weapons. Stop treating your life like a constant repair shop for your flaws. It's time to start mastering the incredible archers you already have at your disposal. I'm going to leave you with this final, provocative thought to ponder today. As you stand in your own mental war tent, surveying the magnificent topography of your own mind, if you entered a war today, what is your true weapon? Find it, deploy it to the high ground, and you will win. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I will see you on the next one.